Welcome back to the deep dive. Ever pour everything into something? You know, a project, an idea, maybe a passion,
Oh, absolutely.
and then it just lands flat.
Yeah.
Or worse, people push back, criticize.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, today we're digging into this really insightful passage. It's titled Daily Heavenly Manna, July 4th. And it kicks off with this pretty intense question from Isaiah. Who hath believed our report? And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
Mm-hmm.
So our mission really is to see what this text tells us about staying strong, keeping on with your purpose when things get tough externally.
Yeah, and what's so striking right off the bat is how it just names that feeling you described. Who hath believed our report? It immediately frames that core problem. What if your work, your message, what if
Right.
it just isn't received?
Exactly.
But then crucially, it pivots. It doesn't just leave you there feeling rejected. It actually offers kind of framework for how to respond. And that's relevant for, anyone trying to make a difference and facing scrutiny, really.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit because it sounds kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
The passage mentions this call to let the light shine and thus attract persecution.
Right.
That part, attract persecution,
Yeah.
really stood out. It's not avoided, it's attract it.
Sort of. Yeah.
And then it keeps going, saying we should endure the persecution for righteousness' sake, but also be rightly exercised by it. And here's the kicker. In patience, brotherly kindness, pity, and love, even towards the persecutors.
Mm-hmm. Towards all men, it says.
So, for us, practically speaking, what does that actually look like? Letting our light shine, knowing it might draw fire, and then meeting that fire with love. That's not usually the first reaction, is it?
Huh. No, definitely not the default setting. And that's really where the radical nature of this insight lies. It's not saying go looking for trouble,
Yeah.
but it suggests that when you live with real conviction, when you're authentic, putting your best light out there, sometimes that will stir things up. Opposition can arise naturally.
Like a new idea at work, maybe.
Exactly, or a different approach in your community. Often meets resistance. So the key, the text suggests, isn't shrinking back. It's being rightly exercised by it.
Rightly exercised.
Meaning, you don't let the external stuff define your internal state. You actually use it. Like fuel for an inner forge, maybe,
Okay.
to build stronger character, develop that patience, that kindness, understanding, even a sort of detached empathy for people who maybe just don't see what you see yet. It's about protecting your own compass, your values, no matter the reaction.
Yeah, that's a really powerful way to reframe it. Not just enduring, but actively growing through it.
Precisely. Resistance as a crucible, not just an obstacle.
But isn't that incredibly hard? Practically, what trips people up when they try this? Especially when criticism feels really personal,
Yeah.
or unfair.
Oh, absolutely. It's way easier said than done. I think the biggest hurdle is just, it's our ego, isn't it? Our instinct is to defend, maybe hit back, or just withdraw completely.
Yeah.
And this passage asks us to override that instinct, to cultivate this almost stoic resilience, to separate the critique of the work maybe from our core self.
Okay.
So imagine you're, an artist and your work's misunderstood, or maybe a community organizer facing pushback. The text suggests seeing that very resistance as a chance to double down on your commitment, to practice empathy, even for those lashing out, maybe from their own fear or confusion.
Yeah.
It takes real inner strength, not just gritting your teeth, but actively trying to cultivate positive traits because of the friction, not just, in spite of it.
Okay. That leads us to maybe the ultimate measure here. So as we start to wrap this up, what's the core takeaway you'd want someone listening to get from this passage? Especially about how we should, value our efforts.
Well, I think the absolute core message is this radical rethinking of external validation. It just tells you straight up, faint not, be not discouraged. It doesn't matter if people hear you or not, if they think or speak ill of you.
Right. It completely dismisses that external scorecard.
Completely. It says that's not the measure. What's really key is this idea that the final evaluation, or report, as it calls it, that is to be rendered to the Lord himself when he is making up his jewels.
Making up his jewels.
Yeah, and you can take that metaphorically, right? Your true evaluation isn't from the crowd, not the immediate applause or the criticism. It's measured against your highest purpose, your deepest integrity. It's about building something of real, lasting worth internally.
So the final thought for you listening, maybe consider what it means for you to make up your jewels. In your own life, your own work, how do you measure your conviction, your service? Especially when you face that indifference or that criticism. Is your measure external Or is it something internal, something about integrity and purpose that nobody else can really touch? Something to think about.